Dreaming of owning a property in a prime location with great proximity and fantastic neighborhood? EJ Investments Sanyang Seaview Estate is the best choice you have been waiting for. Our Sanyang Seaview Estate is approximately 15 minutes drive away from the busy hub of Brusubi roundabout and into the heart of nature, where you can have a peaceful and relaxed lifestyle with your family. You can buy a finished 4-bedroom story with 5-year flexible payment plan or a service plot with 2-year payment plan option. With over 300 homes, you will enjoy big tar roads with covered drainage, modern electrification with solar street lights, gated entrance with security post, and a breath-catching experience of our beautiful sea view and lake view. You can own a home today at our Sanyang Seaview Estate. Call us today on 446-4838 or 325-9220. Visit our website on ejinvestments.net. EJ Investments, first in property.
Honey, did you remind him that the last time he sent the money, it was not enough to buy all the provisions?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell him.
Are you guys talking about money transfer to buy provisions?
Yes.
But don't you know about Baloo?
Baloo? What is Baloo?
Baloo is a service that your son can use to send provisions directly to you guys from the shop. And you don't have to worry about the exchange rate.
Tell me how Baloo works.
It's very simple.
Just log on to baluo.com and shop, or download the app on your phone. You can shop on the website or using the app to buy online basic products for your family and friends. With Baloo, you decide what your money is spent on. Your money, your choice. Buy online products for your family and friends in the Gambia, Senegal, Nigeria or Mali. Baloo, better than sending money.
Action.
Hello and welcome back to yet another episode of The Brunch. It's good to be back here today. And before anything, we'd like to apologize for the late start. It wasn't really intended. And as usual, I would like to introduce our usual panel. I have Mr. Lamin Chan with me, Nima Kamara. We don't have the Badibunka with a thick accent today, but we have a guest panelist with us today who is no other than Demba Kandeh, researcher and journalism lecturer at both the University of the Gambia and the Media Academy for Journalism and Communications. Welcome to the show, Demba.
Thank you.
As usual, we will now go with our news review.
You forgot to mention he's my husband too.
Oh, he's your husband. Okay, Nima, if there's anyone out there looking out for Nima, please don't. Just forget about it.
Yeah.
So we will now like to go with the news review.
Yes, thank you very much to Sajo and the rest of the panelists, and to you watching us from around the world. Now, this week, of course, we have the Barrow rally, the much talk about Barrow rally, which really got some wide coverage in all the medias, I should say, over the last couple of days, under the week on the review. Now, for me, it looks like the message the president had was drowned, in some of the controversial claims statements made there by his aides, principally, his close advisor, Henry Gomez, and his minister, Mbalo. I saw the whole thing as, a bunch of people with very little political experience, plus the fact that, we are in a polarized political environment. They were overexcited. They made statements which I think if they were a little bit more experienced and macho, they would have been measured in what they were saying. I think to say that we have acquired water tanks, water cannons that will be sprayed to would-be demonstrators, I think that is out of place, unnecessary, because it was always going to draw criticisms. And to go forward to say we will shoot demonstrators, I think that one is completely unacceptable. That one is way, way beyond the pale. Henry Gomez went too far. But I think it's all boiled down to inexperience and not knowing their mandates and not being mature, in making public speech. But I would commend President Barrow, because when it was his time to come, even though his critics said they expected him to roundly condemn those previous speakers before him, but he was very moderate and measured in his statement. Of course, he was, and one of the messages that really people did not pick to be very important. That was the first place. He categorically himself made it clear that he's not going to be moved by anything to get out of that office until 2021. So if there's any lingering doubts on anybody's mind that he probably will reconsider or maybe be a little bit conciliatory to this Operation 3 Years Judgment thing, I think that was the day he made it categorical and strongly clear that he was not going to budge until 2021. Yeah. I think that was a very strong statement. And if anything, that is going to even reposition and strengthen the various different divergent positions of the people groups in our political landscape. Now, for example, the UDP, the GDC, the APRC, and others would now have one common enemy, and that is, okay, there will be no election in 2019. There's going to be election in 2021. So they will strategize now, instead of 2019, they will strategize how they can reposition themselves to 2021. But even that is a controversial, the period between now and 2019, anything can change, I think. But that's what I got from the message there. Rather than everybody hooked to what Baloo had said and Henry Gomez said, I think the message that the president also said is not going anywhere was really a strong message that people should look and brood over. Yeah, I don't know what you make of it.
Yeah, the two statements are not very different. They are all speaking to achieve the same goal. That is to dissuade anyone who is intending to rise up against President Barrow's decision to stay on power for up to 2021. Now here's the thing, if you have a platform like this, consider the fact that Brikama is a very strategic place, and Brikama is a stronghold of your most threatening opposition, UDP. You want to go there with a reconciliatory tone. You want to bring people towards your cause. You should set a very clear agenda and solicit support for that agenda. You want to rally people behind you. You don't want to go there with a threatening tune. You don't want to go there with a message that is going to elicit hatred, that is going to elicit reaction. And that's what we have seen happening. Now, this is going to test Barrow's legitimacy. The fact that we have to understand that although it's a common thing in Africa to have a government that comes that do not even understand what their social contract is towards the people. I'm not even sure the people understand that there's a social contract between us and the government. And every promise that an incoming leader promises to the people, and they are voted into office based on that promise, forms part of that social contract. Now, the social contract between Barrow's government and the people is that he's going to serve for 3 years, and he's going to conduct some sort of transitional reforms, and then he's going to step aside for somebody else to build onto that foundation that he has built. Now, if you come back and you renege on that promise, what you're doing is violating the social contract. And the social contract is what gives you legitimacy to rule. Now, at this point, you are losing your legitimacy. You're losing your right to rule over people. And as a result of that, if you're going to continue to rule, you have to do it by force. And if you're going to do it by force, I think that's where this threat is coming from. They have gotten desperate. Because at this point, people...
He's relying on the Constitution. I mean, he said he's...
It's not the same thing. The Constitution have clearly set the terms, yes, right? But the Constitution doesn't give you the mandate. The people give you the mandate. Yeah. The people give you the mandate to rule. It's like what happened with Theresa May. It's like what happened with the Prime Minister before him. If you are not able to fulfill your promise to the people, it means you are not able to deliver on the mandate that they have entrusted you with.
That's just going down to morality.
Exactly. Yeah. So at that point, you have a moral responsibility to resign from your position because you have lost legitimacy with the people.
Mr. Kandeh, what do you make?
I think that's an important point to make here. I think it begins from the point of departure of the fact that there is need for politicians, generally in the Gambia, particularly those in government, to see the population as citizens, not as subjects. In that, what I mean to say is that as participatory people with rights and responsibilities. I don't think the Brikama rally or even a political rally of any kind is the right place for the president to come and announce that he's not going anywhere, until 2021. I think that's such an important decision that should not be politicized. It's a very fundamental issue. We've been all wondering whether he's going to stay for 3 years or 5 years. So if such a decision is to be made, or the president is going to announce that, I don't think it's ideal to do that in a politically charged rally like that of Brikama last weekend. Beyond that, I think it's also important to know that, yes, this is a question of morality, but it's also about making sure that we don't lose sight of the change that the Gambian people have been yearning for the past 22 years. We all have a moral duty and sort of a responsibility as responsible citizens to make sure that we continue to push the opportunities for change, positive change in this country. And what we saw in Brikama, it's a disaster to that extent. The message of the president wasn't positive at all. I mean, for someone who came on as supposed to be a transitional president, the message would have been much better. First of all, the message that he delivered there was not meant for that particular platform. The second point is that it was drowned by the messages of the other speakers. And for me, it was even sad that for the president to come and not dissociate himself with the messages that have been said. At the very least, he should have played down, the points of the previous speakers and at least bring in a positive message to say that, the Gambia is a sovereign democratic society and that he was elected on a popular mandate. He has the mandate of the Gambian people and that he will use his mandate in a positive way. Not to say whether people want or not. I mean, that's the
only thing is lack of experience and the volatile situation is driving him to be more and more partisan instead of because for all the political groups, I mean, it behoves most on him being the president to avoid being partisan much more than the rest of the groups who can always fight in their corner. He's the president. He should be seen to be the center of cohesion, bringing everybody together, whether or not you agree with them.
Exactly, and that's fundamentally important because at the end of the day, you as the president, you have a primary responsibility in making sure that there is development, there is progress, there is peace, there is stability, and so in whatever you do, you must be measured by those principles, by those fundamental ideals of the Gambia, not by any splinter group or separate political, ethnic, or social or economic interests. No, nothing. Everything on the principle of that this is the Gambia, this is the best possible outcome, and this is for the Gambia. And that's fundamentally important. But altogether, if you look at what the president said, I think those are really missing elements.
You can also say that inexperience is, you can attribute this to their inexperience, but you can also attribute it to the character of Gambian politicians. This is what has been obtaining from during Jammeh's period up to now. So it begs the question of what has changed. Because this is the tune you would expect with the Jammeh government. Now, if we are seeing that replicating itself, it's reminding people of what used to happen in the past, and it is consolidating our suspicions that nothing has changed.
I think it's unfair to always blame this on inexperience. I mean, Barrow administration has been there for more than 2 years now. I think that's a long time, or time enough to learn the basic ropes of some of these things. I mean, the other point that very often you hear in the public is that, oh, he surrounds himself with people who don't know what they're doing, people who don't understand it. But at the end of the day, isn't that his responsibility? He has the mandate, he has the power to remove and put in people who can guide him.
He said he's been doing that in the interest of the country.
So at the end of the day, you don't blame the people around him. He has a moral responsibility and a leadership responsibility for that matter.
Most importantly, Demba, I just want to know what you really make of Mbalo's statement, because what they are doing right now is making threats towards the civil society organization. I mean, as a journalist, what do you make of that?
I think it's a very sad situation to see that Mbalo, the Minister of Interior, using a political rally to announce the use of water cannons against, demonstrators, peaceful or otherwise. In fact, my point is that if the government has procured a water cannon for security reasons, this is for national security reasons, it's not for political reasons. Use your office, use the office of the Inspector General of Police and issue a public statement, a press release, or organize a press conference and announce that we've secured this for A, B, and C. But how can you wait for a political rally at a politically charged event and start announcing that, oh, we have this, and if you do that, we're going to do that? I mean, that's so irresponsible and it's so low for a state minister. You know, that is really concerning, to say the least, and that's why you know, it's sad to see what's happening, but unfortunately, it's
you may also question, for example, what do they hope to achieve? Is it to, by sending out those threats, was their intention meant to dissuade people, and what has happened in contrary to that? Because what I see, especially we're going to see from the video that's going to be showcased, people's reaction, it has made people even more angrier against the government than otherwise. So what was the intention?
And it is linked with this 3 years job nothing. I think we go into that. And how do you think, I always ask this question, how do you people think, Nima and Kandeh, that this 3 years thing can be solved without the country having going into demonstrations and been sprayed with water tanks or what, etc., etc. Is there still an opportunity for President Barrow to sit down with his partners in the coalition and the people of the Gambia to get their consent or understanding for him to go for 3 years? At the moment, is there any possibility for a consensus on this matter?
I think that ship has sailed.
You know, the irony here is that you have a system in place that works really well, democracy. The reason why we have democracy is for us to be able to deal with our issues based on consensus rather than confrontation. You came to power through that process. If you want to maintain yourself in power, you have to go through the same channel. At least consult the people who put you into power. Explain your reasons for why you want to stay beyond 3 years that you have promised. And very likely people are going to accept it, because like me, for example, and I know other people who believe that it's not convenient for us to reconvene elections after 3 years. But you cannot force that decision on people. You have to consult the people. They have to give you their mandate. They have to accept that decision that you have taken.
But is that possible?
It's possible.
Right now? It's not too late.
It's not too late.
I agree that it's not too late, but it's really fair to say also that it's going to be extremely difficult given what has happened already. But it's not too late. I think I'll join the optimist point of view on this, that it's still possible. It's a question of consultation and how you approach the issue.
He has said he will not consult anybody. It's not helping this.
That doesn't help, because at the end of the day, I mean, of course he has the mandate to be president for 5 years. I mean, you know, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not legal minded, but it's basic. At the end of the day, you also want to govern, right? And the ability to govern is connected to this peace and stability and the people supporting your agenda at the end of the day, you know. And in order for you to do that, you must, you know, get consensus. You understand? And the best way to get consensus is through consultation, not by force. You understand? And that's why it's fundamentally important, because at the end of the day, if you have distractions, I mean, peaceful protest or whatever it is, if there is something going on somewhere, I mean, you get distracted. You will not be able to do your job as expected. And then the seat gets hard and you're not comfortable with what you're doing, and eventually we as a country are going to suffer, not anybody else, I mean, not individuals.
Can we make a clarification on this 5 years constitutional mandate? The Constitution clearly states that every president who's going to be voted for their term is 5 years. The Constitution doesn't say that the president must stay in power for 5 years.
But you know,
it doesn't. The same Constitution states that the president can be impeached based on certain conditions. The same Constitution states that the president can resign if he wants to. Now we are not even questioning the legality of his stay. We're questioning the morality.
Exactly.
Of his stay. That's the differentiation there.
It is true that governance is all about trust. You mentioned the examples of Great Britain, where within the space of 5 years you have 2, 3 prime ministers. Not because, particularly in the case of Gordon Brown, for example, when he realized that his government, his Labour Party didn't have overwhelming majority to govern, even though they led with a simple majority or something, he believed that demonstrated that trust on his policies is very limited. And the noble thing to do, the most noble thing to do at that moment is to give way. Because you must be at, in people's trust 100% when you are, in the leadership. That's what, David Cameron, when he lost, when the referendum he lost, to the campaigners of Leave, he resigned. Theresa May is about to resign, not because he was incompetent, but he realized that all the policies and plans he put up have not got the support of the people, and he had to quit. Mr. Barrow told the people he will quit after 3 years, and now he is not doing that. On top of it, he is annoying people by saying that, in fact, now,
I like the point.
yes, in fact, now, I'm not even going to consult you. I'm my own man. Now, the Constitution belongs to the people. The Constitution may say 5 years, but the people on whose behalf you claim to be working are saying that, no, you're going to go this way now. If you don't do that, you'll be seen to be arrogant and simple. And I think that's, but I think, like we said, it's not late.
It's not late.
He can still eat the humble pie, come back to the people and say, well, this, because, you know, I have seen people who are, you know, very critical of Mr. Barrow from day one. But they still even think that this 3 years is unreasonable. Meaning they would have simply understood him. You know, they would be sympathetic to his agent if he had taken the right approach.
And it would not be for Barrow's benefit.
And these people,
it's for everybody's benefit.
And this is even within the UDP, you know, whom they see as the biggest threat. There are people there who said all these 3 years is nonsense. You know, of course.
It's not nonsense. I wouldn't
No, what I'm
call it
saying,
nonsense.
I'm trying to say, Mr. Barrow would be simply understood if he had taken the right approach. I mean, the UDP can always claim, look, if these 3 years was never our policy. They are saying that was personal opinion, but at the time, they did not challenge him. So it is fair to say that the UDP had never wanted these 3 years from the beginning. Again, it is only through the actions or inactions of Barrow that they fell out, and then they started nosing perhaps he should leave, you know, sooner than we are willing to give him now. So all this boils down to Mr. Barrow's actions, and I mean, I think he is beholds on me again to come back and arrest all this animosity, come back to be the national figure we saw in him in 2017. I mean, and we sail along. People will understand him. And after 5 years, we know, if he wants to go, fine. If he doesn't want to go, we would not at least.
And my concern is, we have never had a president as unpopular as Barrow, as hard as that is to say.
We haven't had a lot of presidents though, so.
We don't have many presidents, but if you compare him to the past president, this president is very unpopular. Now, if you're going to continue making statements like this, you are just increasing your unpopularity.
Don't tell that to the Barrow fans club. If you say that,
I think that an important component of the 3 years or 5 years is that there's need for us to, you know, not partisan, make it a partisan issue. I mean, of course, a political decision, but it should not be to the level of partisanship. That if you support UDP, because like you said, there are people within UDP who support 5 years, others support 3 years. And the same thing goes for all the other political parties probably. And so it's really important, and it's still like Nima argued, it's possible to have a national consensus on moving on, you know. And I think it's just important that the president realize that.
Finally, before we go, the APRC, well, this said the seizure of their leader, Mr. Jammeh's properties is illegal. They said because the Commission of Inquiry, you know, as far as we know, have not fully disclosed what has been recommended, you know, against people who are vastly mentioned there. So, what authority does the Ministry of Justice or the government has to seize? Even though they said it was an interim measure, we don't know what interim.
I mean,
is it fair? Do they have a valid argument when they said it's too soon for anybody to seize President Jammeh's assets, and why not other people who are alleged to be his close associates? Why are you picking them gradually? Do they have a valid point, or they're just politicizing?
I mean, whether or not they have a valid point is something else, but they could say what they have said. Why? Because the Minister of Justice have created room for that to happen. And this is the reason why we were concerned about not releasing the entire report and cherry picking, especially when only they know the rationale behind their action. The public is not privy to information at a point where they can say this is based on legal provisions or otherwise. So the APRC supporters could come out and say whatever they want because the Justice Minister have created that.
I'm not sure what law they're relying on, but I do know that the executive is very powerful in this country. So as far as they can rely on even executive decisions to make such a move.
But this whole
question of fair or not, it depends on who you talk to.
The whole exercise supposedly supposed to have been based on some process, which is the Jammeh Commission. We all had public testimonies. Now we are yet to hear public revelation of the recommendation or disclosure of the recommendation, and then you started acting publicly.
So that goes on to also, so the sort of disconnect between policy, what government is saying, and in practice what they're doing. It's general. It's not just the JAMA issue, but a lot of other issues around the lack of transparency and some responsibility or accountability procedures in this government. And that's why also you look at the practice of the Ministry of Justice. You see that they've made a lot of decisions, and only to go back and reverse the same decisions. So which is really sort of a novice government.
You have discounted inexperience. I said it's very much a factor.
Well, I mean, the governors, the Minister of Justice is not, he's very experienced guy. Locally
but
and internationally.
He's new in the office. He probably haven't hold this kind of position like.
Matters of transparency are supposed to be.
I think transparency is very, very important.
So let's now take a look at reactions from the Brikama rally, and then when we come back, we will discuss more.
I am a wrong because banko dila waromina yale mo for mole banko ya waromi ko mole sanyi saba nale banko dina mbeda reform kala civil service reform security reform kada fo TRC kada fo atonde no fongo ni atonde no commission inquiry ani fo loi bu ko pour ka reform yo fo mole ko no waro sida ibe jilale. So sa nata bita sanyi lulu ndela miroto nibe diamla direct president barole ndela miroro anda mi folo mole wala mi ndiko ay finina talbi sonoto ay si atande gambe belo ko ndela kale sanyi saba bar kol be sharimbulle nga dan nga ka sanyi luti jamu gambe dem be kili moti ya mi malat ya mi be karo fay barole jam moti ya be yen diamo mi Brikama we mo jamal kamfani barokam hani million ko laftala ka fada kam because naaje ka fe mo bunna kidola we be jikando fala mo kam wala nga ya jame bonni jang pour kamala mo be se fansuro mi ila isranya sosoro ba sa ni do kana ka mo le ko mbal bunna kidola mbal jana jikando we di banko dum disappoint bakal anna ma stop immediately ba nata diamo start wrong atende ko lo ko mo jindi a fo ko ndo ma banko nyino kama o wato banda janne kamol force kamol lipa o ko kuga molla gambe mun be tari anga nyonane nga banko samba karo ko ndele mirora ndo fale yes ane ndo fale be pare woni da ka resign because e banko dum kijo fale le ko diamo sada so na ni ma resign fala bari nanda baronda ke diamo ni bake pour next time ni be diamo publique e sale be min fale. Yeah, thank you.
Nde menje mbalo ministry of interiors ala kumo nyi memfo es malolo mfankala moyi because then before ku jamal be kam banko kan ibe mol abe uskande ibe mol lipa kan ibe boy kam mol kan bandiya be siaring han sayenten kunun ko imam fa Brikama so wo in time mo la stand akabo diamu kan so what amanna for Gambianolu another for agenda barola support kan in the political agenda. So then niaje for meeting for what purpose beta Brikama meeting ukeje because baro people Gambianol man vote awokan e vote kama for 3 years. So then in 3 years or must have no for 5 years or more that okang. So that political agenda mul ba fa baro ko mai take baro fa it's a shame. Gambia dingu nyanta politiko famu le bage politiko mankoti. So niaje Gambia dingu hana teri baro ake sanolo bom banko kan. Mul nyanta baro la agenda ni nako en agenda nyanta ni ka which agenda. So that baro ay permission menta mole na teri 3 years o banta nyanta ka jile. Nyin kamala anybody nanata in power balono ka fo Gambiano de willing de ye kujama de mialon ko nyafa tale. So the agenda mol fanan dol kelo ka fo ko kabin baro nata ko tel man kujama soto say mbo soto kanne. Ibe men soto ka o mile nyanto de le korda ni ado ko o mile korda te nyanta ka do kule. So bari ni fundita banta outside country. They go to Uganda, Kigali. O banko kama de Gambia be nyama mineral soto they are border with Kinshasa. Wala mineral soto bara yali le banko ni def nyamo fayla ibe malu le fanka nyamo fay banko to. the president work I left the wall. I 20 years serve or 20 something years, but still the banko mul be left in ngala. So but Barrow among anything je na manke agenda la ala palaso abole je kan. Woto abala mansaya nying sirang bambanda nyameng abole ke gamenola. Gamenola ala ni nyaayele Gambia mentally Baloo kan we are nothing for mandata kan dawda. So nga Gambianol be dani nying hanatari Barrow be mun kula ke gamoya IG don IG nim 5 years o banta IG. So ala political agenda mo kana fasa in no more. Because I remember more fail kande. So what reason Barrow be Gambia is very small. The last silul baby tinyarine. Gambia 5,000 kilometers near the jana silul baby construct la. So kilo sila jumal bi jamia lonka data. Si near ko mole ka fa ko pasama highway with the data and then silul be construct. Ina musilo lati. Niya fo mole me malolo fam ka fa ko Barrow agenda we are supporting bari. Ila kunkili nafa ni la jifa dalu ibake ka wole because ye mitingu menkeje kuma jumal fo jamia lonka si banku dingul nafa. Ko ay kido fay so wolu be la jifa dale because inena mira ibolo sotokan in this government. Because Henry Gomez Jumala lon kafa la politiko Jumala ka karte fay wala Jumala ka luwaye Henry Gomez wol kabriye ke palaso to Barrow kuma nene kuma le fay ke la jifada ke jifol men so de be mendile la family so people are suffering Senegal be battering because nina da Gambia banko fan jibe jambando bladol be je banko fata de jambando bu ko soto jani bo sifa fo mo len kafa nal porter sa même kala ta Senegal no ma wulo ko no yele na fa ko ke maybe niya je de France la fila bo alla fi na dia ko ya woto nal ma nyinke be na kala it's the same
mbalala kuma kan men ayafo ko e tangolo soto mengo jigando ko tara kono nimul finda be fayla o jigando lo mukumo menti to nyata mbalo mo alfal den dahina kanen bara kumo nyi man la ku aman foku aman taku fana ila banko dingo e be ganyi nere nyeko ni findre ila nyanto ko ila nyanto demokrasi nyanto men dila mbe mantoro kele mantoro men ko ini sutunoji ndama jigim mbalo nyanto kumo fula da kumo nyi mukumo to melan ko ni atara ngasoto mbalo la nasu nakumo moy dukra Gambia din apologize a fo en kamen fale ngar sarane nta ko yinkila Henry way men fo tumaro bato ngamira te abala kumo fala wato menna hakilo le bota wa ma ala amantra concentrate mbakal kuma kanka kandara kilo fa murta ko akata mo fo komen ko ni mo findambe bunna kido adun dunya be la moy fo human right la diamu la fa diamu kunu ngala moy riba kibarro ako kuma ko ni yenta stop la because kuma ko de men kam beta me demokrasi le kono harma de nyanto soro men kuyata yatande dunya yatande mol so nyanto ko ne manyana folobe manyana mira la fanka fa me kar bunna kidola warande me kar fayla jigandol yo bari wo be mo kuma de kuma men ko man ko kuma de men bedar mbala la kumo Hendris la kumo majanko la kumo wol be manje kuma bedati kanto majanko fananta ngala mo la ko momo ke nendro ke bangu ngabe man ngadi ngolat momo la fe fitno bangu ngabe ban ngadi ngolat abe mo UDP lat adu majanko manyana ko fo kumo do suda dala man ngol ke man fo amanjara ka fo majanko hanara man nga diama for bar njigita ko Gambia dingul mat nama nga UDP ding fa njigita ko parti dol dingul mat nim majanko lo daw ko mo sifa ni defal lo nga ko mo sifa parti do kana diamo lo sap ada ka men fana foko mo man no man la fi baro security la majanko jumal no nim mo mato no ate jumal no kando haninte hande melara loptano je wulu ne ko majanko na kire ni la majanko no wallahi billahi ta'ala ndele majanko na ko da ngana ndam dela ay attaque bla mo fulo face to face ako Gambien ko liata lonne hande baroma security diartla Gambien ko liata mo jumal mater majango fene Gambien ko lonne jumal Gambien ko talon ko do be je nimbe sire me diamla ak mo abam nyene ka fu banko kan asi problème sama no banko wala ko si falo ñu mo alfa la nyanta la na ngol stop ngol lande
mbalo o mistake ta bakel because minister of interior aseta mo noto may fatile noto minister of interior manya ñu ko si fa manya na bola dakon comme ni Gambia dinga findita ibe jikando fayle kan jikando me yalon ko jikan tabrini ba kele e ba fayle kan o manyan na kela biko do ko libi jetel fangale moto si jikando san ko do menna do ko be yim bankun kay nyanta men nyanto ko do dum na men kunto e ma du wol kundo fay itele yin hamole soto ko kombe jikando fayle Gambia dinga kan kula moto me yala ni silomanta fulanjang be yitandira do ko jamaale mbalo bul me yala nyanta men kala be dering amolke farba comme son soto la janne kuma mam photo be dering o ko yangulu mala nyaw be dering to nyamam foje folo killing fulanjang kidol nata janne kidi kontina nata jam men tata kidi wili kilin nin fe yo ko be mulu mala ya landi ya tankunde dinkira kilin o kidi wili kilin nin fe wato ndekala programme on ya ke radio don ga telephone ke ko kidol la ko muna fo la ko hanbi ko be deri wonya o kidol ye samana dalila jumala kan lafta wala fangolo na yimbanko ka dugo yimbanko an furani ya fay man sakunda ke mutale dugo ndaji uluta siadi nda uluta bara jalle malol men boda ni fen jama be bara jalle taban naje ban niebun sefo ke mutale ni ma fo sefo ke mutale man sakunda ke mutale ye soron kabri ya jama'ano do fokana bula sai ibu kazo moy fangal fa sai kidol nar dalila jungal kan yim bankun kan lafta wala non ndum mbe yim fole man sakunda ko yin kidol ni me koy nin tel wulla banka banta mbe wulla de mo seson wala banta ko gambe dingon tel kijo bota kidola ko la yim banko kan et won kudeta kidola yim bankunte mo men fata ko na tambita moto ko aw tambita sanji tan man sakunda ko be ranse ya bang 94 wala mi ya jamna kudeta han bi mbo gambe bo problème wala kon gambe murta koma an sa mbo bata kilma kon o kid ku problème mbo le kon woto ndel yaaje ko nin kid ko den nara man nin kol kam men folo wala mi indi ko ni fa wule ba fa ne tu wule jabina e bo borla ni nga kid ko den moy men na kid kontina dun tay banko kan so nyande ala ko fayna wutler ka ko kele ka long kidol dunta dame hindala kuma mota ta normal because at la party o mu be felentin hani nyambo lal la mo le fanka sha hindal kuma sala molt kabra congress ki jam nyambo lal kulli lal mo fa de nyambo lal wo be kuma fo no la im bankun kamba wol dol mo le be kam fato kuma fa la kam mo li jiso bon because dinne la April 11 akiran de nyala marché ko jam siri marché ko kido anin dinne le ka nyobu nyame akiran nyala jan ya kala muda men ke dor mobe yalon dindin tan anin nani men yalon koy fata mo kana le ke da ele ka fa mo len ko na tel findita mbe kido talam balibunna afa o wato bantale o wadon tambido lale ndeleni ya jame akay bankun kan fom futara yin tembo ya labanta nyaadi le ndel gamen gol mo buke silandi no mote silandi nyola yin bankun kan ndesi o sanji tawor anin fen ngola balu yin bankun bar bin de lemune laaje ya kabrim baba la yin banko kan ngon telu ndel ba bannale bar ndengulun tetula yin joya kon sakate.
We've heard the citizens making their complaints about the statement made by the government officials on the Barrow government. Majority of them are disappointed hearing these statements coming from these government officials. Back to the studio, I am Sally Job.
Welcome back, and thank you, Sally Joe, for that wonderful production. Wow, so we've heard what everyone said. I don't think anyone is happy about those statements that were made.
Yeah, so we were not alone in
thinking
that the statements were unfortunate. Now I think perhaps the government officials will learn when they go out to make public statements, which they will be more measured.
Somebody said something that perhaps did not occur to us, that the people who made this unfortunate statement should resign, and I think that's a very valid point.
I said the same thing. If this was in another country or in the West, you wouldn't even be told. You do it yourself.
The 3 years Jofnam group people have actually called for the interior minister to be asked, but I think at the time they probably didn't know, they didn't understand what Henry said, because what Henry said is supposed to be much more serious than what the minister said. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Anyway, we will now move on to KMC.
Oh, that's trending.
Yes.
What's trending, Nima?
What's trending on social media? It has been alleged, and it has been confirmed to be true, that some time ago we learned from Facebook on social media platforms that the KMC leadership have obtained some trucks that are going to be used to, I don't know, for, what do they call, trash collection, which is a very important material that the KMC people need. I'm sure every other municipality needs such equipment. So it has come out on social media also that these trucks could not be accessed or could not be taken away from the ports because they have been asked to pay duty fees. Is that the right term for it?
Duty waiver.
Duty waiver.
They were denied the duty waiver.
They were denied the duty waiver. It happens that perhaps the central government is not in support of this initiative. Because otherwise, why would they have to pay duty waiver? So that is what has been making rounds on social media. The tension is between the Barrow government and Talib.
I think Talib is caught in a crossfire between
UDP and Barrow's fight. Yeah, seems like it.
Well, I expect this matter to be really analyzed in this kind of fashion, as you said, like between the UDP and Barrow.
Yeah.
Which is very unfortunate because, like we said, when matters that are dealing with national interest comes up, I think we shouldn't see any partisan, any sign of partisan politics in that.
Yeah.
I am disappointed that the KMC trucks were not qualified for duty waiver, because I know that some of the points and some of the criteria that is accepted in processing duty waiver, I think these trucks have met that. And one, the items that have been imported should have to have a very significant impact on the lives of the community and the citizen as a country. Like, for example, if you look at the situation, like if we're going to build the Banjo roads, for example, the Chinese, or building this conference center, all of the Chinese imported throughout these projects are not subject to the duty waiver, because we know and we understand that what they are doing is doing for our country. Now, this initiative is a local initiative for dust cabbage collector trucks to come and serve the community. I think under normal circumstances they should fit the criteria to get a duty waiver, especially because there's a lot of precedents. These municipalities get duty waiver for much more useless things compared to cabbage trucks, and they've been granted. Why is it now that duty waiver is being denied for these trucks? Obviously, it's very simple. One would be very fair to say that it boils down to politics, which is very disappointing.
Very disappointing.
And I have got information since this matter broke that even the councillors, remember, of course, there are councillors in the KMC who are not necessarily UDP councillors, are all enraged by this decision, because they felt that, look, this is not for politics. This is it's a new era. These things are going to benefit all of us. So the government should see the national interest and forget about politics and do the right thing. I'm disappointed if these trucks definitely fail to qualify. I don't know whose this one is.
Apparently they have failed to qualify, because another bit of information we received is that KMC have been able to pay for at least 19 trucks. And just today
$13 million. They've been asked to cough of $13 million for the duty waiver alone.
Yeah, so they have paid for that amount of money, and those 19 trucks have been taken away from the ports, and today they are inaugurating it. Another interesting bit about this is that the communities are the ones who are going to be paying for this money.
Yeah, of course. Every route from KMC is definitely from the people.
Obviously.
So now we will see how those people. The next thing is how those people will react to this.
What are the implications of this?
So I think I read two things from this. One is that maybe in terms of the duty waiver, the processes should be a bit more transparent. How do we issue duty waivers? To whom? To what kind of goods? To what kind of services or other issues? I think that process should be made a bit more public, so that everybody knows that, okay, this material is qualified for duty waiver, that is not. And so, unfortunately, though, from what I have seen, in most cases, the process of duty waiver is not transparent. And sometimes it's at the whims and caprices of custom officials. They don't even follow the due process.
Actually, it's the Minister of Finance.
They don't really follow due process. Yeah. The second thing on that issue is in terms of whether there could be appeal processes. And if there are, the KMC can make use of those appeal processes. Say, for instance, if you apply to the minister and he denies you, there should be some. If you believe you've met the conditions, there should be somewhere you can appeal the decision of the minister, and get it overturned or get sort of a judicial process to look into that.
Regardless of what transparency processes are involved here, this is a local government we are talking about. This is an extension of the central government. Would you think that their initiative should be stalled just because a duty waiver is not being granted?
So here's the thing. This fight between local government and central government, it's not, maybe it's a new phenomenon in Gambia, because now we've seen the diversification of government, or people in government, opposition holding power in a particular local government and government hold, you know what I mean? So it's probably new, but the fight between central government and local government is not a new phenomenon in politics. And that's why I stress on the need for the appeal, appeal process, but also if there is a duty waiver process, it would be open and transparent so that we all know that this is the process. And if you are to be denied, you'll be denied under these regulations, under these conditions that you have not met. And if you are an aggrieved person and you don't agree with that, then you can appeal through a higher process or to a judicial process. Now, the fight between central government and local government does not help anybody, either the central government or the local government. And in the case of the Gambia, the government of President Adama Barrow in particular has been preaching a lot about decentralization. And if that is the case, like you said, I think for a lot of situations you can argue that, yes, maybe the KMC trucks qualify for duty waiver. I mean, I don't know the circumstances of this, but that would be my assumption.
I think
that these trucks qualify for a duty waiver and that they should be given. But if the minister denied them this, I think there should be a process for them to appeal and get the decision overturned in a judicial process. If you don't have that, then there's high time that we establish that, because otherwise we're going to have these cases repeat over and over in the future.
Could this also elicit reaction from the KMC too, politically, I mean? That's very...
Yes, and I think this is also boiled down to the issue.
What do you mean by their reaction?
Reaction in a form of maybe rising up against the government for this.
No, I think the case
obviously, because it's going to affect them.
From what I've seen,
these are materials that they need, and especially now that the costs have increased, it's going to fall back on them. The payment is going to fall back on them. And we understand, I mean, however way you go about it, there is politics involved in this. And it's so unnecessary.
I know for sure that the leadership of the municipality in KMC are not happy with this decision, because they believe that these materials qualify to get duty waiver, naturally, and they believe and had started interpreting that it's a political decision. You know, the problem here is it will be very difficult if we have a government that is this vindictive. I mean, at this point, it's going to be very disappointing. I mean, if you will be blind to national interest if you are partisan and you look at party interests, etc. And this is going to be unfortunate, because we have almost all but one, the local government authorities are in the hands of the UDP. Now, if the Barrow government is not really prepared to work with the UDP in developing communities from the grassroots level because of politics, it's certainly going to be a big problem, because that means you're going to be alienated from all the grassroots people throughout the country, because the UDP control all the municipalities. Now, and it is too late. I've always said to people, it's too late for Barrow to disentangle himself with the UDP. Almost all key positions are UDP. If you want to be partisan now, you want to snub the UDP, you probably may even start by snubbing your own Secretary General or your own clerk next to you. You may not know, because they were put there on party lines.
So that's the problem.
It's nonsensical now
that's the problem of making issues so partisan. I mean, it's not just the UDP. I mean, you're the government of the Gambia.
Exactly.
You're not the government of BYM or government of Fan Club or some government of a separate interest group. You're the government of the Gambia. You're supposed to work with anybody who has the interest of the Gambia at heart and can impact the Gambian people positively, irrespective of any.
And here is also an opportunity that the government can take ownership of this entire project. One, they could be present at the inauguration today by supporting the KMC, by making it as part of the general government agenda.
I hope they will be there, of course. There will be some level of representation.
I don't think they are.
Such as local government minister, at least.
I think this is the problem. For me, this should not be politicized. This unfortunately is politicized. This is about national development.
Exactly.
We all, struggle with refuse in our houses. The correction of waste is a major problem, not just in the KM, but I mean, so this would be a national priority.
I think it has been politicized, unfortunately.
And that's very disappointing.
And that's the issue.
And then we save I wouldn't say the best, but we save Alaji Martin for last.
Okay, the TRRC.
The TRRC. So the TRRC people promised that a prominent individual will appear. They didn't fail. Alaji Martin, whose name have appeared so many times, for being responsible for torture with prisoners, was called to testify, and no one was surprised to notice that he wasn't admitting to some things that is clear that could have been the case, in fact. But who is us to say that? The TRRC process is ongoing, but his appearance from what I've seen, have raised so many questions. Sana Sabali came here and he said certain things. Bunjadabo came, he said certain things. Now Alaji Martin came, he said certain things. That gives us an indication that the army under President Jawara might have been seriously lacking in understanding. Under Jawara, under Jammeh.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I got your
might have lacked of understanding of what their role is. In a democracy, there is a bargain that happens between the army, the civilian government, that this is your role, this is the extent of your role, and you are not supposed to overstep the boundaries of what your roles are. But it seems that these people do not have that understanding. And from Alaji Martin's testimony, we also have seen that they have created for themselves a system that worked so well for them that they could not, from a moral point of view, they don't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, for me, I think Alaji's testimony could enlighten me further. You have an inside view of how I already know how the system was working.
Yeah.
I was thinking Alaji was going to answer questions to the many allegations of human rights abuse that he was involved in. I think he definitely fell stuck of telling the entire truth about even the numeracy. I mean the amount of people the amount of atrocities he's been alleged to have. He stopped short of coming clean on that. He admitted only 2. In the case of Sana Sabal, I can believe that. But that he did not participate in other ones like civilians, he was always there. You know, at the time, as he himself had said, Tumbul Tamba and Musa Tamba were the key eyes and ears of Jammeh. They were always present anywhere there was human rights crisis. So I think it was not true entirely that he said he could only, remember only 2 occasions, with Sana Sabal, etc. However, I knew that Sana, I didn't believe all what Sana had said, especially when it deals with how many times and the nature and forms of the torture he described it. I didn't believe all that happened. I knew he was, as Martin said, dealt with, I know. Yeah. But, but this idea of being, all those things he was describing, I don't think all of them are true. However, what is clear that Martin has been named in many numerous allegations of human rights, and he didn't come clean on that. He stopped telling the entire truth about that. Yeah. He was trying to be protective of the system in a way, even though he himself contradicted himself. That's, there was an established norm, modus operandi, which is to get somebody to confess whether or not the person knows knowledge or is willing to do so, and you do that by beating. So it comes to tell me that this was systematic. This was systematic in the system. That's how it worked. But then the other thing I have come to understand is that what then should happen to Martin?
That is the major question. Now here's the thing.
And I think I also
agree.
recognize from the council's approach that he is trying to find out who else might have been, or at least to gather evidence as to the involvement of others who are lined up to appear before the council. He wanted to know enough information about their alleged involvement. He wanted to know that from a person like Martin, who definitely was in the middle of everything. And that's why he was trying to say the issues like Lantombong, etc., and other things. The council wanted to know from Martin, because Martin was, one of the best witnesses. Yes, you could. That's what the council was trying to get at too. I noticed that too.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. So Martin kept referring to it was the situation at the time, and the transitional justice system also involves institutional reform, security sector reform. So the security sector reform the process have just begun, and Martin is still part of the system that we are trying to transform to generate something new that conforms to democratic principles. But Martin is a product of the situation of the past. But so how do you have that individual take part in the process of the reform? Does that even make sense?
No, but even the audacity of Martin to say that they're working on reforming the system.
Exactly.
That's an interesting question. I think it's also good to look at it sometimes from the point of view that this is someone who's, whether we believe him or not, has come out and said, oh, what we did was wrong. What was going on is not proper, and so, there's need to reform that. And I think that especially if it's coming from a genuine place, it's a very powerful tool you can make use of in a reform agenda. Now, I don't necessarily agree with, or understand all of the, talk about the security sector reform and to the extent of the genuineness or even the progress that have been made so far. The other issue is, the inconsistencies of Martin's testimony and sort of what you refer to as contradictions in his testimony. I'm not sure we can judge his professional capabilities, especially in terms of administration or in terms of tactics or military knowledge or whatever. I mean, I'm not qualified to judge that, but from a very civilian perspective and from what the TRS has offered us, he doesn't seem to be like the kind of person that we can rely on in a serious security sector reform, and that's unfortunate that we still have people like him. I mean, even the kind of language he was speaking, sometimes it felt like, does he understand basic questions? Like basic question you ask him, he's talking about something else. I mean, it's so unfortunate. I mean, sometimes you wonder whether he understands the question, sometimes whether he's just doing it deliberately or otherwise. And so that really puts a huge question mark on him as part of any reform.
Yeah. I have a concern because there's this thing in psychology where people who are like this, it happens with serial killers, it happens with people who have lost their conscience, they compartmentalize things. Like you put things in compartments and you normalize them. Even though from an ordinary person like me would see that torture is not an ordinary thing to do, it's not a moral thing to do. But they have normalized it so much that they don't see anything wrong with it. And you can see that coming out from his testimony when he would say, we dealt with them. Or
that's exactly how they deal with it.
It has become so normal for them, a system, that you cannot expect any genuine reform from an individual like that.
Well, it's I mean, it's difficult to say, but there is never a situation where you go beyond redemption. I don't think so. I mean, but it's an argument that is worth that making, and I think especially given the importance or the significance of the security sector reform, it's really fundamental that we question it and talk about these issues in a more transparent and open way.
But currently, they're supposed to be on a retreat trying to draft, I don't know what about the process. And even the minister alluded to that it is one of the most important thing the government should do. Otherwise, all the other gains would have been zero if the security reform is not done well. But how do you do it? Because that's the problem. I mean, last time we had panelists here who believed that the government is trying to avoid, getting rid of some elements. And that's why they want to find an avenue in this agricultural thing to dump some people there instead of eliminating them from the army, you dump them to do some farming. And one analyst said that's the ploy of the government. But the minister said he didn't categorically rule out that people will have to leave the army. But he said if that's going to be the case, it will be done not because a certain group have been targeted, but because it's going to be free and fair.
Yeah. These things are always going to test the government's seriousness with the reform agenda, because if you have a political ambition and you have to have, I mean, there would always be tensions between your political ambition and what needs to be done for the reform program. So you are firm on your reform agenda, or you allow your politics to interfere with what needs to be done.
The drafters of the coalition agenda envisaged a transition government that would not be interested in politicking, because politics will compromise your principles. Unfortunately, that did not happen.
Let's now take a look at some of the reactions following Alhaji Martin's testimony with the TRRC.
Welcome to this special report on the brunch. I am Sally Joe. We're out here in Serekunda Market to seek opinion from people about Alhaji Martin's testimony. Let's find out from them what they have to say about this.
Alhaji Martin daal li ma gis ci testify am bi moom dañ ko radaxa moom li mu wax waxu dëgg. Alhaji Martin was a wicked somebody koo xam ne ñi nga xam ne dañ doon maltreat people bi during Yaya Jammeh regime mënu ñoo saafaat Gambia in another time. We the Gambians, we don't accept that totally. We don't accept it. Alhaji Martin is better Gambians. Authority bi ñu génne ko from this post. Mënuloo maltreat Gambians whilst you are ruling them and other. Loolu kenn mënu koo accept. Man loolu laa am pour wax. Waaw war nañ koo jégal waaye waratut a serve as a soldier. because of dafa fail juuteem yow mënuloo saaf Gambian si war ñoo yërëm nga maltrick ñu ba pare while tey ñu gisaat la yaa ngi solaat the same uniform. So how can we see this government again? dafa mel ni government ni Demba bi stand still yet moom boo fi nekk because ñi doon maltrick Demba ñoom la ñoo gisaat we are the same uniform again. So man dama fa ne loolu is not fair. ma am pour wax government bi ne moo leen koo xam ne yaa nga bokkoon si this rhythm nañ la génne from this suppose.
Ntengaje nyame ala testimony ni man credible. Aje nyame wala min daga mantra tonya foka. It's not telling the truth. Abe cover up lala. And akiteka dia mo mol menye wala la famuro warta ta famati. Because mo jamala na TRRC before ate. And mo liye lokuma kamal mo killing. And ate mo men be funny andi. Mo tang ne way ite be all be funny and la nyadi le te kilina kuma ke tonya woman sentiment. So abe men na abe cover up lala. It's just a liar. You know, me, I was even upset, Kajeko, because TRRC is very expensive. Imanyana kana TRRC, instead of a Tonya for Yena, ebe Wulia for like bank resources ni waste, like TRRC in all the time waste. To me, that's unacceptable. I don't think he deserves to be forgiven. You know, he has to be faced the consequences. Because if we forgive everybody, so what is the meaning of the reparation we are talking about? Because this is not a reconciliation alone. It has to be, you know, combined with the reparation anyway, you know. The truth must come out anyway, you know. So me personally, I'll not forgive him. He's not deserving to earn our dollars here. Taxpayers' money dollars here. Allied money is not deserving that. Me, I don't even understand the Gambian Armed Forces. Why? Because I see the other person yesterday, Bunja Dabo. He said Elijah Martin was torturing him anyway. And Bunja currently working in the Gambian National Army. Elijah Martin also is currently working in the Gambian National Army. How those two people will be working in the same institutions and you think that, you know, would be a better institution? Would not make no sense to me.
Elijah Martin na kuonga mela moye TRC. Kumol menifo. Anyway, banko moli ya Elijah Martin kumol menifo. Bare ndi aje ko komi Elijah Martin kumol menifo and bi ay kumotol to komale. Because ku jamal leketa men yalon ko Elijah Martin jannata kana TRC. Mo jamal na taje men yala kumof. Dun yalon ko dodo beta fan ya fo. Kadun sana sabal na taje le do ko tan na taje do ko tan na tan kunu. Membo taje bunja dabo ko fan yala kumofala. Botol beta fan ya fala. Ante ajo nyalo. Nde na tan de sana dam mamu. Ilmen be trimali ak man sakunda ko non dumbije nde sana dam biyan man nyande taraje biyan nyanda taraje tel bebe siri. Ye be si la kli samba mailtu. Alhaji Martin na kumolu kindi ye membe dat. Kos kumo akola nyawo nyara nding menke to fodron. E ba yake menula o fana si kontane no because of ye menke le yetli ba ta metul hando mande. Alhaji Martin hani ma ba bar san Alhaji Martin manyana ka uniform modum katammi molu nyakota mennu fañol bouté ay meñul bañol bouté katammi wolu nyaato nyaabala vitamina o manke pour ka molu murunu nyoka ni la fa ka molu murunu nyoka o mo si fa ngenda sila folo fo jalen do mo folo koto bar momé fa bouté i nyaaba jela wala fa fa nyaaba jela vitamina ire bo fil la nyaadi le wan beta.
One day I'm surprised because Alhaji Martin bring from starting to for ending Alhaji Martin na kujawo damma rek Alhaji menge han ya jame fango mo kay banko ka so nataje yara fan still now ko Alhaji Martin still now han sabe do ko la government kono nde am surprised bari nata ngamta ko nde ngaje ko bi na bota bila from today atanyanda resign ala do ko nyimbula because of ni mole mara la character tinyata la already anu silanga koita mobe mala mobe ya lon ata momenti so atata keno la fendi ko nga me ya lon ko katara palaso do palas kuma membe ko atabe ami damendo ten fo ka commande am so general wala mbam fo som atamo palaso sa ya man nyanna katara wota because of mu banko la palaso mendi ani atla jiko mu menti was different Alhaji la ko kaynti dal mota ko tan nte damma atanyanda resign la yin palaso nyi nga ya bula atla balalobe kole ala bak because atiyaka mo bele la tu atiyaka mo bele la from starting for ending Alhaji yaka bele la tu bawo ngajira ate fango jaato alafta balan na bari afta ko denga nata mudo aka song nata je ko denga muta ko denga jamanda ay kayto mem be read me ya lonko mo mem be ka fa laaje nyin kenna laaje is too much because kunung fambe captain dabo fango jiwelo o fana the same thing o fana wala fa adu nga kaka menno mu gambia dingol let na don nga saka frena so lelalo bari gambia dingol le mate fana mu sidi sinot ate ko sifake no I'm surprised
ala matin seetaan naa ko waaye waxut dara lépp lu mu wax fen la waaw moom nit la koo xam ne nit ko soxor la li ma xalaat daal mooy ne moom service moom waru saa dellu waaw.
We've heard what the citizens have said about Alhaji Martin. Many of them feel Alhaji Martin should resign and not work for the government anymore. Others feel Alhaji Martin have not been saying the truth. Back to you, Sajo.
Welcome back. From that, I think we've all heard what people have to say regarding Alhaji Martin's testimony, and I hope that he will be brought back to the TRRC for more testimonies. Cham, we will now like to close here. You would like to say your final word?
Well, yes. I thank all our viewers across the globe. I hope you will be back here next Saturday. We have a special guest, big guest.
The TRRC?
Well, we don't disclose that. Not the TRRC, our panel. Next
Okay, yeah. We're doing the TRRC thing, so we have to
We have a big guest.
We have a big guest coming next
And
Saturday.
then you can look out for it.
Yeah.
Kandeh.
Well, I look forward to seeing your big guest. Until then,
And thank you for having you on the panel today.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much for granting us this interview. We really appreciate it. Well, this now brings us to the end of this episode of The Brunch. Join us next week if you can. Thank you very much for watching, and bye for now.
Dreaming of owning a property in a prime location with great proximity and fantastic neighborhood? EJ Investments Sanyang Seaview Estate is the best choice you have been waiting for. Our Sanyang Seaview Estate is approximately 15 minutes drive away from the busy hub of Brusubi roundabout and into the heart of nature, where you can have a peaceful and relaxed lifestyle with your family. You can buy a finished 4-bedroom story with 5-year flexible payment plan or a service plot with 2-year payment plan option. With over 300 homes, you will enjoy big tar roads with covered drainage, modern electrification with solar street lights, gated entrance with security post, and a breath-catching experience of our beautiful Seaview and Lakeview. You can own a home today at our Sanyang Seaview Estate. Call us today on 446-4838 or 325-9220. Visit our website on ejinvestments.net. EJ Investments, first in property.
Honey, did you remind him that the last time he sent the money, it was not enough to buy all the provisions?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell him.
Are you guys talking about money transfer to buy provisions?
Yes.
But don't you know about Baloo?
Baloo? What is Baloo?
Baloo is a service that your son can use to send provisions directly to you guys from the shop. And you don't have to worry about the exchange rate.
Tell me how Baloo works.
It's very simple.
Just log on to baloo.com and shop, or download the app on your phone. You can shop on the website or using the app to buy online basic products for your family and friends. With Baloo, you decide what your money is spent on. Your money, your choice. Buy online products for your family and friends in the Gambia, Senegal, Nigeria or Mali. Baloo, better than sending money.